Excuse me. Perfect. So, welcome everyone, and thank you, Danette. This is a District 5520 ClubRunner Essentials webinar. So we're going to get right underway. The recording has started. My name is Mickey. I'm from ClubRunner, and what we'll be doing today, the ClubRunner Essentials webinar. The goal of the Essentials webinar is to become as familiar as possible with all the different sections of ClubRunner. Here's what we will and will not be doing. We will be trying to click on every top menu item. I'm going to get into top menu items in a moment. What we won't be doing is doing a deep dive or like an expanded or advanced view of any section. So today we're just kind of skimming the surface. What we want to see though is what are all the features found in ClubRunner? There's a lot. So what I'll do, I will begin. So I'm going to share my screen. And let's go here. And hopefully you can see my screen. Pardon me. What we're going to do today is we're going to explore the member area. This is the member area. Before we get there, I want to take a step back. So I'm going to click here on this third browser tab. And this is a imaginary. It's a fictitious Rotary Club homepage. It's very simple. It's one of our testing sites. Very important for today to maintain confidentiality. We will not be showing any actual person's data or phone number, email. Everything you're seeing today is fake. All the email addresses. So we're going to start with a club level website. So ClubRunner, we manage club websites. We also do district, and if you're familiar, we also do zone websites. Today, we'll be focusing on a club level website. So we're not really going to be talking too much about the district site. About 90% of what we're covering today also covers a district site, because a district site isn't completely different. It just has more features than a club site. So a lot of the things that we'll be discussing today in the club site, you can do a fair bit of the same on a district site. So what I've already done is I've already logged in. But I do want to talk about this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip the part about member login. No, maybe I shouldn't. I'll actually start from there, because one of the fundamentals of ClubRunner is how do you log in? What if you can't log in? So what I'll do is I'll talk briefly about that just for a moment. I'm going to instead of clicking on member login, I'm going to open member login in a new tab. So it's right here. And the way that the member login works is you put in your username and password. If you don't know your username and password, click on either of these, forgot username or forgot password. You can retrieve your information by having it emailed to you. So if you don't know what your username is or your password or what have you, you can fill out this simple form, just put in your, your email, and have it emailed to you. Now I'm going to put in a kind of a fake email address because I actually don't want the database to find me. So I'm going to submit this, and it's going to say, I don't know who you are, this big, long, weird email. So if the system cannot find your email, let's say you do this and you put in a legitimate email, like, frank@gmail.com or something, and it's your real email, but our system can't find you. There's another level to this. If you can't log in and it doesn't recognize your email for whatever reason, like maybe the ClubRunner doesn't have your correct email address in our database, there's someone called a website contact. So it's in blue. I'm going to click on this, and you can send an email to whoever the website contact is. This is predefined. Most clubs have, sometimes it's a president, but it doesn't have to be. It's someone in the club who kind of handles website questions. And you can put in, I can't log in, or you can fill out a little form. And this is another level of, what happens when you can't log in. So it's kind of important to go over that. So I'm going to close this tab, and I'm going to close this tab. It'll take me back to my homepage. Okay. Now I'm going to just bypass some of the member login. I've already logged in. There is one thing I want to just talk very briefly about, which is this. I'm going to click on this last tab right here. This is clubrunnersupport.com. And let me make this bigger because it's a little hard to see that small text. Clubrunnersupport.com is our main help site. I'm actually going to try and reference it every once in a while when we work through this webinar, because we're going to be visiting lots of different sections in ClubRunner. I won't be able to go deeply into any of them because we're going to try and cover as much ground today as we can. So when we get to attendance, or we get to dues, or we get to website designer, you can come to www.clubrunnersupport.com. You can type in a ClubRunner topic. For example, we're going to be talking about website designer today. If you type in website designer, you'll find videos, PDFs, help articles, all kinds of stuff. They are all found here on clubrunnersupport.com. And finally, I'm going to emphasize this a couple different times. So this is my first. Please email us, support@clubrunner.ca. I'll make this just a bit bigger. Because we'd love hearing, getting email addresses, hearing from our customers. If you're stuck, you're never stuck. Please email us. We're here to help you out. If the ClubRunner is a very large program, as we're going to see in just a second, there's a lot to cover. Don't worry if there's any section you don't know or something you don't understand. So let me go back here to clubrunnersupport.com. This is our homepage. Now I'm going to skip the member login phase, and what happens is when you do the login, you enter your correct login and password. You're going to enter what's called the member area. This is my first tab right here. I just kind of have this preset up.
Yeah,
I'm going to click. Oh, sorry. and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this. And this is the member area. Well, this is the first page you're going to see. Is called the administration page. So when you log into ClubRunner, this is the first thing you'll see. Is you come here, this admin page, it kind of lists all the major sections. If I scroll down, right, you can actually see like there's an event section, email, there's attendance. So all the different sections are here. I'm not going to use the admin page. Why? Because I'm going to use the top blue tabs. The top blue tabs are sticky, or they're persistent, meaning as I go to membership or contacts or attendance or communication, the blue menu tab, it stays on top of the screen. So if you can navigate around using the top blue menus, you can move around ClubRunner, and that's what we're going to do today. So very quickly, the way that the private member area works, you will not be able to see this without your login. This is all the private area information, your member lists and phone numbers and emails. I'm going to just click here. I'm going to go back to my homepage. This is 100% public. So Google has indexed this. A lot of people, anybody can see your homepage. There's no login to see the public information. If I go back to this tab right here, the member area, this is private. So you must be logged in to see what we're going to do today. So the way I'm going to do this today is I'm going to work in order, roughly speaking. We're going to go through admin, my ClubRunner, communication. We're going to visit all the sections. We're going to try and do as much as we can. And I do watch the clock. We may have to skip a few sections. So this is my first and only apology. Sorry in advance if we have to skip some sections. It's all for the sake of time. So the way that you navigate the member area, you use the top blue menu tabs. For example, attendance or bulletin or membership. Now you'll notice nothing loads. I'm clicking on every blue tab. Nothing's happening yet. This just loads the section. So reports will just load the report section. You have to click this gray bar below and find the appropriate sub menu item. So it's not just clicking on, for example, communication. You have to click on the gray button that says email services. That is what's going to load the email page. Okay, so I'm going to go back and we're going to start from the beginning, admin and admin. And this is the admin page. So very briefly, this is a summary of all the major commands. You can scroll down this page where that's as far as I'm going to go with that. There is something called Admin Classic. I'm going to click that next. And this is the older administration page. For those of our veteran ClubRunner users, you may remember this page. This is the admin page we had, I think, barely like 6 or 8 months ago. This was the page that most of our users were using. And I just want you to know that this is the older page. but this admin button is a newer page. So older, classic, and then newer that just says admin. So I want to click on edit privacy policy, okay? And the only thing I want you to know is that your club or district has a privacy policy. What is that? We get into all that in the blue box. You can actually edit your privacy policy. Privacy policy includes things like how do you store member data, all of those things. I'm not going to get into the hows or whys today. I just want you to know you have, or your club has, a district, a privacy policy. So you can check that out. I'm going to click here on club info and settings, okay? And this is where the general overall club information is stored. We're going to look at a specific member's information. It's called the member profile. We'll get there. But for now, if you were to click on admin, and then you clicked on club info and settings, you can actually edit your meeting times, your location, do you have a club website, all kinds of stuff happens here. So this is the club information page where you can edit all the information about your club. And that's it. We will not go any deeper into this section for today. I'm going to click on ClubRunner Mobile. And for this, I want to spend just an extra moment. So ClubRunner has a free mobile app. For iPhone or Android, there's no cost. You download the app. Now remember, this is dealing with private member information. You can download the app. Anyone can download the app. It's free on iTunes or Android. You can't use the app without your club or district login. So if you don't know your club or district login, you should reset it, right? We talked about retrieving your information. But once you do have access to the mobile app, so the mobile app does a couple things. The first big thing that the mobile app does is it strips down ClubRunner. What we're looking at today, all these blue menus, all these commands, and you'll find there's actually a couple dozen. This is the laptop and desktop version of ClubRunner, and it is very expansive on purpose, and we'll go into why. The mobile app is the reverse. There's possibly 5 or 6 total functions. Sorry about that. There's possibly 5 or 6 total functions on the app total. So there's not a lot going on in the app. What can you do with the mobile app? It's got a live updating member directory. If you're part of Rotary Club of XYZ, it has your member directory in there. If you want to talk to Bob or Frank or Shauna or whoever, you can call them, you can text them, you can email them using the app. Meaning you don't have to worry about people's contacts. The mobile app will keep track of that for you. You can register for events using the mobile app, and you can even check your personal attendance figures, your club level attendance figures, if that's something your club does. So there's a couple of really major things the app does. The reason to download the app is, first of all, there's no cost to it. Second of all, it always lives on your phone. And the third reason is it's a very simplified, stripped down version of ClubRunner. A lot of our non-advanced users really love using the app. But today, we're going to talk about the desktop laptop version. So we're going to keep going past the app. I'm going to click here on Help Guides. If you click on this, it opens a new browser window, and it takes me to ClubRunnerSupport.com, which is something we discussed. So I really, you can always just type in, hey, I heard about that mobile app. Where do I download it? And then you can look for it and find our video. You know what? The video, by the way, is 1 minute long, or sorry, 2 minutes long. It's not a long video. And the iTunes and Android download links are found here. And the way I found that, because I did that a little bit fast, I just typed in mobile app, right, into ClubRunnerSupport.com, and then it's the first search result. Let me just close this tab and we'll go back here. So I want to click on webinars very, very quickly. So ClubRunner webinars are kind of an important part of what we do. We're doing a webinar today, but we actually do one webinar a week at least. Every Wednesday, we have a free webinar. It's free to attend. You can, come and join us. And the webinars are recorded, by the way. We don't have any Wednesday webinars for the month of April. We have something called changeover training. I'll get to that. but you can register and sign up for our free webinars. They're on all the various topics, bulletins and website designer and all kinds of different things. So they're free. They're Wednesdays at 3 p.m. That is just for the live version. We have recorded versions of every webinar. You can watch those anytime you'd like. Okay, let me just close this tab. And the next thing is contact support. Once again, pretty important. If you're having a hard time remembering some of the things we're going over, because we're going to go over more things, the only thing you need to remember, contact support, like email us, like let us know. You can use support@clubrunner.ca to email us, or you can go into your club website, click on admin, then click on contact support. It will open this new window, and you can just type in, I'm having issues with, and etc. And then you'll contact our team. We'll email you back as soon as we can. Okay, so that's actually possibly one of the most important things to learn today. If you come against a wall or you're just not sure what to do next in ClubRunner, contact our team. We'd love to hear from you. And then the last thing is community. I'll go over that very quickly. I'll click on community. It opens a new tab. This is our basically ClubRunner only bulletin board. We have all these various sections. Once again, you use your club login and password to get in here, right? You can't, anyone can view the posts that happen on clubrunnercommunity.com. Only our members can actually post questions. So, I'll give you a popular example. Club Treasurer has lots of questions about QuickBooks. There's a lot of questions that the ClubRunner team can't answer about QuickBooks. So he or she will post here on clubrunnercommunity.com and tap in to the worldwide database of members, ClubRunner users, and they can ask questions like, hey, how does QuickBooks Works integrate all that? And then a Rotarian in Australia or California or wherever will respond to you. Okay, so clubrunnercommunity.com. I'm going to close this tab. I got to it by using admin and then clicking community. I'm going to move on to the next tab, which is My ClubRunner. So I'm going to click here on My ClubRunner. I want to mention something, which is this. So when you use ClubRunner, there is something called an access level. Okay, so if you're following along, and let's say on a club site or your own personal Rotary Club, you may find that some of the menus that I'm going to click on your version of ClubRunner, they're grayed out. That doesn't mean it's broken. That just means you don't have the appropriate access level to use ClubRunner. So you must have the appropriate access level to access everything. I'm only going to list 2 access levels. We have more. We have more than just 2, but we have level 70. Okay, so the level 70 access is we just call them users. They're kind of technically like standard users or what have you. They are the low end of the access level, meaning you're going to be restricted if you're level 70. You're going to find most of the top menu commands are going to be grayed out for you because you don't have high access level. On the top end, that's a level 30. Okay, and these are our admins. Okay, so admins is the other end of the spectrum. Website administrator with a level 30, they have full access. They can access any part of the website they want. I just want you to know that, and I don't want to inundate you with numbers, but the access levels are important. If I go back here, the My ClubRunner tab, out of all these other tabs, it doesn't matter what your access level is. Every member can access My ClubRunner and use all the different gray buttons in here. So if I click on My ClubRunner, I have all these different options. Let's click on My Profile. This is my member profile. And what this stores is all my member information. Who I am, what's my work address, what is my home and information. So it stores quite a bit of information. This is only one tab of my member profile. If I scroll up, I can actually click on my Rotary tab, which has all my Rotary related information, my member ID, and all that other stuff. So your member profile is deceptively large. We have a lot of information in everyone's member profile. To access your member profile, you log into ClubRunner, click My ClubRunner, My Profile. It will take you to your member profile. Okay, I'm going to now start skipping a few things, and I apologize about that. So I'm going to skip these three, my commitments, attendance, and committees, and I will be doing this a little bit more just to keep track of time, make sure we stay on pace. I'm going to click this command right here, directories. If I click directories, this is something a lot of our members use. This is your club member directory. What is Bob's email? What is Nancy's phone number? How do I reach out to XYZ? This, if you scroll down, you'll see this is a list of all your members. We do have a photo view. So if I click here on, this is a list view right now, see it's highlighted. If I were to click on card view, I can see people's photos as well, right? And I can also export. I can also print this directory, and you know, I can have it on the go, or I need to call Bob at, you know, tomorrow, and I need his phone number. So the directories, right? So that's something that's that a lot of our members use. Now I'm going to skip this. This is actually kind of important. The email message center. Actually, I'll click on it just to show you. We have redundancy in our top menu. What I mean by that is, if I click on My ClubRunner, then I click on Email Message Center, it's exactly the same as if I click on Communication and Email Services. Let me show you. I'm going to click on My ClubRunner and click on Email Message Center. It's going to take me to the email page. It'll take me to the exact same email page if, I'll hit back, if I were to click on Communication and then Email Services, which is a completely different menu, it takes me to the same page. Why do we do that? So the redundancy is really important, because for the very important commands, we don't mind that it's there 1 or 2 times, sometimes even 3, because the really integral stuff, users need them, and they sometimes access it in different ways. So you will find a little bit of redundancy in ClubRunner. That's on purpose. Some people click on My ClubRunner and then Email Center. Some people click on Communication and Email Services. So I just want to mention that you'll see a little bit of a kind of duplication as we keep going. My account balance, I'm going to skip. And then I'm going to click on Documents. So Documents, this is your club's, we'll call it like your club's Dropbox. You can store files, PowerPoint, Excel, PDFs, what have you. You can have folders, you can, you know, and there's 2 basic types of documents. The reason that documents is hopefully can be useful, the 2 types of documents are public being you have a document, anybody can download it, Google can index it, you know, and that's fine. The second type of document is called requires login. So requires login document requires a login. So I have, let's say I have a PDF file or a Word document or whatever. If I make it requires login, I can email the link to that file, to that document, to anybody I want. But if that person is not a member of my club, they can see the link, but they can't see the file. They have to log into the club website in order to view that file or document. So hopefully you'll find that useful. By the way, redundancy, My ClubRunner and Documents is exactly the same as Organization and Documents. So it's the same, it takes you to the same screen. So I'll keep going. My email history, it's the next one after Documents in My ClubRunner. If I click on My Email History, it shows me the emails that I have sent, not the ones I've received, the emails that I have sent out of ClubRunner. So, you know, I sent an email, you know, on July 20th, this was last year, you know, this is really useful if you want to, you know, kind of see your email statistics. I'm not going to go deep into this page because we are going to talk about communication a little bit. I just want you to know that if you click on My ClubRunner and My Email History, you can get an overview of what's going on in your ClubRunner emails. If you click on My Friends, these are your personal Rotary contacts. Did you meet a business owner and she was fantastic and you really wanted to be a speaker, but you're not sure if she wants to be a speaker? Add her in as a friend and you'll have her email and phone number. And maybe 2 weeks from now, you give her a call and say, hey, would you like to come speak to our club? So this is what the Friends is. It's your non-Rotarian, it can be Rotarians as well, but your list of people kind of related to your Rotary Club in some form. And then I'm going to skip my new member activities because I want it, like I said, I'm watching the clock. I'm going to click on communication and then email services. This is where you come to compose an email. So let's talk very briefly about how ClubRunner email works. And I'm going to write this down. So ClubRunner, okay. So ClubRunner email is an outbox. I'm going to put that in quotes. Okay. It has no inbox. So we are an email broadcast service. What that means is you send out of ClubRunner, but let's say I send an email to all my club members, hey, everyone, the meeting's tomorrow at 5 p.m., whatever. I can send that out of ClubRunner. I can deliver it to all my club members, and that's fine. As soon as anybody or everybody replies, it goes to my regular email, the email that I have defined in ClubRunner. You may use as your regular Rotary email, Gmail account, your work account, Hotmail, whatever. When you send out of ClubRunner, that's great. It broadcasts out. That's our outbox analogy. As soon as anybody replies, it goes back to your defined email address in ClubRunner, Gmail, Hotmail, your work email, etc. So you send out of ClubRunner, but you receive in whatever email program you have. Why? Why would you use ClubRunner? I'd rather use Gmail then. So there's a couple of reasons why you use ClubRunner. The first is when I'm going to go back here to a club communication. The first reason is, remember, ClubRunner is a giant database. So as your membership changes, you don't have to keep track of anybody's email address. If a new person joins, they're automatically added into the system and they're automatically added into the list of your active members. So that's reason number one, is it's a constantly updating database of names and emails. And then another point number two, is we keep track of email statistics. It's great that you sent an email. Wouldn't it be nice if you wanted to know who got it? Did someone actually open it? Did someone, read it? All that stuff. So you can see the email stats for all these emails. Now, let me see if I can find one. Here, what I'm doing is, these are the emails that were already sent. And I'm going to click on the down arrow and I'm going to click on stats for an email that was already sent out. And I can get the stats for that email, right? Peter Bowman opened the email and then the other person was sent. So you can actually see the progress or the status of the emails you send out. So that's another big reason why people use ClubRunner for emails. I'm going to click the go back button right here. So I'm going to skip email traffic report and I'm going to go to manage blocked emails because that's actually an important one. And then, like I said, we haven't composed an email today. We're not going, like I said, we're not doing a deep dive today. Now let's say you're sitting there watching this video and you're like, I really need email. Like, email's a big portion of what I do, and you didn't cover it. So let's do this. Let's go to clubrunnersupport.com. And how do you compose an email? Here are step-by-step instructions in clubrunnersupport.com. So you can actually go to clubrunnersupport.com. You can fill in all the missing gaps we're going to have today, because I didn't talk about how to send an email, how to do this and how to do that. Today is just about exposure. Let's try to expose as many different sections as we can. I'm going to go back to my member area, this tab right here, and we're going to move on to something else called manage blocked emails. When you send an email out of ClubRunner, you might send it to 20 people. In the case of a district, you might send it to 2,000. Some of those messages might get bounced or blocked, meaning I'm going to send it to my Rotarian and she's got AOL, but her AOL email is saying, I don't really know about this ClubRunner email. The AOL thinks it's spam and then bounces the email back. This is where bounced and blocked emails land. So when you send in a message, let's say to 20 people, and then 1 or 2 of them, their email service bounces our ClubRunner email, it will land here, and you can basically come here to unblock people, meaning, this person, they said the ClubRunner email is spam. What happens is we will stop sending to that person. Why? If someone marks a ClubRunner email as spam, shouldn't we just keep on sending to them? If we do that and we keep sending them emails, even though the server, like AOL or Gmail or whatever, thinks we're spam, we get ClubRunner gets classified as an aggressive spammer. And then we get onto something called a blacklist and all this other stuff. It just gets really messy. This is why we have a blocked emails page. If we send to someone and they say, no, I don't know, ClubRunner looks spammy, it will bounce back, and you can unblock that email. And then you can go into, I'm going to click here on email services. You can resend the email just to the people who got blocked or who got bounced. In other words, you send an email to 20 people, 3 people get bounced or blocked. You can come here to manage blocked emails. You can unblock or unbounce them. Go back here into regular email services and resend that email just to those 3 people who got blocked. You don't have to send it to all 20 people again. Once again, I glossed over a lot of stuff, and I know I'm going slightly quick. Remember, today, just exposure. I want you to know you can do all this. You can resend emails to those people who got blocked or bounced. Let's keep going. I'm going to click on attendance, and I'm going to click on dashboard. And the only thing I'm going to mention about attendance today is that if you have a ClubRunner club level website, you can keep track of meeting attendance. I'm going to click here on meetings. Once again, redundancy, right? This meetings button is the same as this meetings button. These are the same things. So if I click here, it takes me to a list of my meetings. I just want to mention that your club can do attendance. I'm going to keep going, but I just want you to know you can keep track of all that. And the attendance module is there so that you can keep track of member information, right? At our last meeting, Julia and Frank and Bob came, but Nancy was absent, so on and so forth. Okay, I want to click on bulletin next, and then manage bulletins. So you can send an email to anyone you want. Hi Bob, please come to tomorrow's meeting, whatever. It's this plain text email. It's, maybe one sentence, maybe a couple paragraphs. And most people have sent emails. A bulletin is a visually rich email. And some people will use the term bulletin and newsletter interchangeably. So meaning that bulletin and newsletter usually mean the same thing, at least in our terminology. So if you're sending out a bulletin or newsletter, you send out a regular email, it just looks like plain text. You send out a bulletin or newsletter, it can look like this. And you can have a much nicer looking, visually rich email. Like it'll land in someone's inbox instead of, hi, welcome to our club. It'll be, hey, welcome to our club. Here's a nice little grid. Here's some nice looking text and fonts and images and so on. So this is what a bulletin is. It's a much nicer looking, visually rich email. So if I were to click on bulletin, and then the first gray tab, manage bulletins, I can use the ClubRunner bulletin designer to create bulletins, to send it to, now this is the important, you can send it to your members. A lot of clubs, most clubs do that. You can send bulletins to non-members. As an example, maybe you want to have a really nice looking bulletin to and send it to your prospective members, the people who are thinking about joining. And all it is, maybe you send it out maybe once every month or once every 6 months, just to people who might have, a little bit of interest. And you can say, hey, this month this is what our club did, or in the last couple of months we raised X amount of dollars. In other words, maybe you can send a bulletin to your prospects to get them excited about joining your club. There's really no, the possibilities are endless. Just think of a bulletin as a visually rich email, and that's fundamentally what it is. We're not going to create a bulletin today. I would love to, but just for the sake of time, we're going to move on. So that was a bulletin and manage bulletins. And of course, there's all these other gray buttons. I'm going to move on to contacts, the next one, and then manage contacts. There's a welcome. You know what? I guess I'll click it just because I am skipping over a fair amount of things today. I'm going to click on welcome. This is the welcome screen for the contacts module. It has a quick little overview video if you've never used contacts. Please click on contacts and then welcome if you've never used contacts before. I'm going to click on manage contacts, the next gray button over beside welcome. So contacts, remember we had friends, right? We had friends of the club. This is a club-wide version of that, of friends. I've got a business owner. I've got a prospective member. I've got the spouse of someone. I've got, someone's, college-age daughter, whatever. They're people who may not necessarily be members of your club, but you want to keep track of them. You want to email them at some point, or maybe, store their phone number. You can do all that by creating club contacts. The nice thing about contacts is you share them. Your My Friends section. Remember, it's been a couple of minutes. So I click on My ClubRunner. There's a My Friends section right here. That's for you. That's for your personal list of whoever. Contacts, manage contacts. That's for your club. Meaning, I just met a fantastic person. She's CEO of whatever. I think she would make a awesome member, or whatever you want to say. Add that person in as a contact. And now you and your other club executives also have access to this person to look them up, to send them an email and all that. So that's what contacts is. It's basically like the contacts on your phone, right? And it's just a good way to share contact information with the other members of your club. I'm going to click, and by the way, I didn't talk about manage groups or how to merge contacts. We're going to skip that. Please do, if you're interested in what's a contact group and what's all this, come to ClubRunner, this fourth tab right here. Come to clubrunnersupport.com. Type in contact groups. What's a group? I didn't even say what that was, and we'll get some tutorials on that. Let me go back to the member area, and I'm going to click on membership as the next tab, and I'm going to go to members list. This, especially if you're a club secretary, this is kind of where a lot of club secretaries live. They live on the active members list. This is where you manage all your members, all the different member types. Now there are active and honorary, but a lot more member types now. There is satellite. There is, all these other corporate is kind of a more popular member type now. You can manage all your Rotarians here on the active members list. And that's by going membership and then members list. And you can add members and transfer and terminate members and do all that stuff. We can't cover it today, but of course you know where to go, clubrunnersupport.com. I'm going to skip over a few of these. Once again, we have the friends section, right? Redundant, right? Once again, redundancy is built into ClubRunner. So I'm going to hit the back button, right? And what I'll do is I'll click on membership, and let's go to download member data. And I'm sorry, I glossed over a bunch of these. I promise not to apologize too many times. Sometimes I've done that in the past. Download member data. I clicked on membership and download member data. Guess what? Remember, there's redundancy. You can actually find download member data elsewhere in the top menus. Why? Because this is one of our most integral reports. What is download member data? I'm going to scroll down a little bit. ClubRunner is a giant living database, living in the sense that it's constantly updating. Someone's terminated, someone's joined, someone's this and that. They changed, they moved, they changed their cell phone number, all that stuff. If you input that into ClubRunner, it will automatically update. So let's say you're club president, hypothetically, you want to get a listing of all their members, all their spouses, the member's birthday and the spouse's birthday. Let's just take an example. Owned, by the way, in their home address too, for whatever reason. So what you download member data, you come here to access all the information. If everything is a data point in ClubRunner, this is where you can export all these data points. So I'm gonna do this rather quickly just because I'm gonna keep moving on, but I'm gonna unselect all. I want the membership type. Are they an active or honorary member? I want their first and last name. I'd love their, email. Where is this? Let's get their cell phone number just for the heck of it. And so you can see what I'm doing here. right? I'm just selecting fields, and we've got a lot of them. There's a lot of fields here, right? Their date of birth, their spouse partner date of birth, right? We store a lot of information in here, right? And of course, you can check all the boxes again, or you can just check the ones you want. When you export this download member data, it gets bumped out into what's called a CSV file. Essentially, it's a file for Microsoft Excel, and you can open it in Excel. You've got every one of these little boxes that you're check marking, right? First name, last name, email. It becomes a column in MS Excel, and now you've got a list of all your members, their emails, their date of birth, and their spouse's date of birth. And once you get used to it, you will pump out or generate these reports in like 10 seconds or less, because it doesn't take very long to check a couple boxes, scroll down to the bottom of the screen, and click on generate. It takes a bit of time to learn this, but not that much time. And once again, I'm not going too deep into download member data today. It's a great thing if you go to clubrunnersupport.com and you just type in download member data, and we've got all kinds of resources. Okay, so back to the member area here. I'm going to scroll up and then click on organization, which is the next tab. Right, so first I want to talk about the executives and directors. That's the first gray button right here. So your club will have a president, secretary, treasurer, etc. Why is that important? And why is it important to define that here in executives and directors? If ClubRunner is a living database, what that means is it doesn't just talk, inside itself, like, someone updates a fellow Rotarian updates their email address, that's fine. It pushes and pulls information from Rotary.org, from myrotary.org. So when you define this, when you say who is my club president, for example, right? It's Kevin Turner. You define it here, you come here and you add in a position and you say, who's my president or president-elect or what have you. It gets pushed to 2 levels if, and we're going to talk about something called RI integration, but if you're integrated, what happens is you don't just save this here. You can click, let's add in a president-elect, right? I'm going to select the position, president-elect, and I believe the title, and I don't know, Jonathan Aaron, who's alphabetically first, he's my PE, and I'm going to click save. And it sounds like, okay, well, that's fine. That didn't really do that much. I added to the chart. Here he is. I can actually drag him up so I can put him just below president. Here's what you did. If something called RI integration, which we're going to discuss, is turned on, if RI integration is turned on, you took this position, Jonathan, you pushed him to district. That's one thing. And then you pushed him or her to minority.org. You are pushing and pulling information inside these giant databases. So when you define your club executives and directors, it's not an island. You're not just doing it for your sake. You're helping the district and minority.org. So please come to club execs and directors at the bare minimum. Define maybe your president, secretary, treasurer, like some of your top positions. You are not just doing it for your club. You're also telling indirectly the district and myrotary.org who these people are. Okay. I want to talk about committees next. So I'm going to click on committees. This is just a way to store your club's committee information. So I've got a membership committee, right? And the membership chair is, Zachary. And the people in the subcommittee are, X, Y, and Z. So this is where you can store committee information. I'm not going to say much more. Like I said, I'm going to keep going because I'm watching the clock. I want to talk about dues and billing. If active member list is where secretaries, club secretaries tend to go towards, the dues and billing section is where a lot of our club treasurers gravitate towards. Here in dues and billing, you can create club invoices only for your members. You can't create invoices for, say, third party or for vendors or for anything like that, but you can create invoices only for your club members and say, you know what, quarterly dues are coming up. Every member owes $100. And then there's some special invoices because Mary, Frank, Sue, Bob, whoever, they also paid Happy Bucks, or they paid this, or this person needs to pay for their meals. So you can do all that here at Dues and Billing. All right. You can create and generate invoices. You can even keep track of cash and check payments. You send an invoice to Bob, he pays you $100 in cash or a check. You can come here and you can input a payment and say, Bob paid me $100 on, I don't know, March 30th or whatever. And I'll move away because there's some other stuff I want to get to. So I'll skip over dues and billing. There's a lot more to get into, of course, for dues and billing, but I'll keep going. We talked about documents. I'm just going to click on it. Like I said, redundancy, right? Intentional redundancy. Then I'm going to skip over a few of these. And I'm going to click on RI integration. Okay. And I'm going to go to RI integration settings. So your club may or may not have RI integration turned on. First, what is RI integration? What does that mean? If everything's in sync, RI integration is the process of your club or district website, so your club or district site, sharing information with myrotary.org, membership information. Member Sally, she changed her email. Well, she changed it at the club site. She doesn't have to go now to the district and to myrotary.org and change it there. If RI integration is turned on, you are sharing the information between the three levels, club, district, and myrotary.org. So that's what RI integration means. You make a change once, and it's like toppling a domino. It'll topple the two other dominoes. So if RI integration is turned on and you are making changes at the club level, you also get to topple the two other dominoes, which is you're updating in district and you're updating in myrotary.org. There's a lot more to talk about RI integration. Like I said, I'd love to talk about it, but not today, for a different webinar. But there's a lot to explore with RI integration. Please do go to clubrunnersupport.com. Please do type in RI integration. You'll find a wealth of different articles. I want to spend a bit of time on website, and then designer home. That's the next tab. So this is the tab website. The first tab here is designer home. Your club has a website designer. Your homepage may be slightly older or maybe slightly newer, but this is where you're going to come and you're going to edit all your website information, the look and feel and the content of what's on your homepage. So when I clicked on website and designer home, I come to page designer home. I've got all these web pages that I can edit. This is my homepage, and these are all what we call secondary pages. If this is your first page, the home page, all of these come second. So, these are all the incidental pages, like contact us, or a page about Rotary history, or a page about whatever. These are all the secondary pages. So you have your home page and then everything else. And you can see the little open button appearing as I hover over. So I'm going to hover over the home page, because what I want to do right now today, I just want to show you very quickly how the homepage designer works. So I'm going to hover over the homepage designer, and I'm going to click open, this blue open button. It's going to take me to the page designer, which is right here. It says design homepage. So I'm now designing my homepage. Here's how the designer works. On the left side is a live preview, like an actual preview of what my homepage looks like. All the different things. I have a video on this page, by the way, so you might have that too. This is a live preview that you can edit. I scroll down to the video and I want to change it or edit it or do anything. I hover my mouse over it, I click on it, and I can make changes. And I can do that right inside here. That's on the left side. On the right side, I have what's called my widgets. Very quickly, a widget is a little block of information or data. So if you imagine your homepage is a large jigsaw puzzle, like I do jigsaw puzzles with my nieces and nephews, right? Laid out on the table. If you imagine that this is a large jigsaw puzzle, a widget are all the different jigsaw puzzle pieces. You have a puzzle piece for this little video. You have a puzzle piece for the events widget, which displays your events, or the speakers widget, which displays your speakers, on and on and on. You'll notice if I'm going to scroll up to the top here, pre-formatted widgets, that's one type of widget. There's actually several different types of widget or several types of little data blocks. I'm going to click this little arrow. I'm going to shrink pre-formatted widgets, and you can see all these other categories of widgets. So I don't know, carousels, you can actually create rotating image carousels. You can create, if you go to events, right? This is where you'll come and grab the events widget. I'll show you very quickly. This is the events widget. I can just drag this in and I can list my events. I didn't type any of this. See how the club meeting and event, 1172, this all came automatically, right? Because the widget, what it does is it pulls everything it can from that particular section. So the events widget will pull all the data it can find, the recent data I can find in the events section. So I'm going to hover over this. If I want to get rid of a widget, I can click the X. So I can, once again, I've removed that jigsaw puzzle piece off of my homepage, stored it back here. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I did that by accident. I actually want my events widget back so that I can just drag it back. So just one little important distinction in the homepage designer. When you hover over, X is not delete. You are not deleting stuff off your homepage when you click X. You are removing the element or the widget, right? I'm gonna remove. That's what the X stands for, and then I can always drag it back. I just want you to know that little tidbit. Very quickly, I'm going to scroll up because, like I said, almost through it. So there's some buttons here. It looks like an iMac, looks like a tablet, looks like an iPhone. So this is your desktop preview. You can also preview in tablet mode, meaning you can actually get a live, updated a look at what your homepage will look like if you're viewing it on a tablet, and then a phone view. So you can actually look and see, well, I wonder what my homepage looks like if someone on a phone is visiting my homepage. And I can pretty much virtually guarantee this now, just because of how popular they are. My guarantee is that very likely, I don't even know what club you're in, and you're probably watching this as a recording maybe. I can guarantee about 50% of your website visitors are on mobile devices. Probably more than that, but at the bare minimum, I can guarantee half your website visitors are not on a laptop. They're not on a desktop. They're very likely using a phone, a tablet, what have you. And in some cases, it's like 2/3 of website visitors are on mobile devices. So don't discount the use of like a phone or a tablet, because it's very likely the person visiting your homepage is using a phone or a tablet. Okay, now there's lots of other things to go over in Website Designer. Today is just a flavor, it's just a taste. I just want you to know all these features exist. I'm going to click here, go back. Let's go back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Reports next. And I want to show you kind of quickly. And by the way, we need some time for Q&A, so I'm going to skip over a few more things. But Reports is all the different pre-built reports ClubRunner offers. We have a lot. We have just a random example. I'm going to click on gender distribution. What is the male-female distribution of your club? Is it predominantly male? This club just happens to be about 58.8% male, so about 60% male. And so I didn't type any of this. I didn't go hunting for information. I didn't generate this bar graph in like Microsoft Excel. This is done for me. This is the objective of the reports section. When you log into ClubRunner's member area and you click here on the reports section, all of these pre-built reports will export or give you information about all the different things you want to know. What's the age distribution, right? Just like gender. How old is my club? Is it generally kind of lean towards older members, younger members? So that's what all these reports do. And if you're keen, if you got a keen eye, I clicked on reports, you will see, once again, built-in redundancy, download member data. Remember, it was also in membership, and like I said, this is on purpose. This is not by accident. We didn't miss this. We purposefully add some redundancy, some extra buttons for the same thing in ClubRunner, because like I said, download member data is one of our most popular reports. Okay, and there's lots more, which I can't get to, because what I want to talk about next is events. So I click on events and then I click on event planner. What I can do in ClubRunner is I can create an event and I can show it on my homepage, and oh, that's fine. That's some good basic functionality. Events or event planner, I'm sorry, takes it to another level. I want to create an event, but I need to advertise it on my homepage. And let's say we're the event is at a restaurant. The restaurant seats 100 people, for example, or 50 or whatever. I need a head count before we even show up to the event. Because if too many people show up, there won't be enough seats. There's only seating for 100 at the restaurant. So you can send out an event invitation and you can tell your club members, hey, the event next month at the restaurant only seats 100. You better RSVP quickly because seats are filling up. So that's what event planner is for. It's not just for showing your event. It's also for collecting RSVPs and basically getting head counts so that you know Bob is coming, but Nancy said she can't make it. And that's what the event planner does. I'll talk very briefly about speakers, okay? If I click on speakers, it's basically separate from events. It's a different section because this is just pertaining to the club speakers who will come and speak on, whatever date, and they'll talk about XYZ. And this is more or less kind of an advertisement. Hey, on next week's meeting, we've got this person, and he's the owner of a company, and he's going to talk about, whatever topic that they choose. I'm going to skip over a few things. Actually, I probably should move on. So I want to get to your questions. So I'm going to move away from the event section. Yeah, like I said, I'm sorry. I know we're glossing over a few things here. Click on volunteers. And I'm going to skip welcome and I'm going to go right to view sign-up lists. So you're going to have an event. Let's say it's a barbecue, right? And it's some, spring, summer's coming up. That's great, but you need help to do the event, right? So the volunteers module is a way for you to enlist your club members to help you with whatever event or whatever fundraiser or whatever you're organizing. You're going to need people. The barbecue, for example, you might need some cooks. You might need some people doing shopping. You might need, XYZ. Just like event planner, you create a volunteer sign-up list, which is just imagine like a virtual clipboard, right? Like here's all the volunteer tasks, someone be a driver, someone be a cook. You email it to the club and the club can choose, oh, you know what? I really want to be a driver. Okay, I'll sign up for that. And then somebody else says, yeah, I can be a cook. I want to sign up for that. And all of this is done over email virtually, meaning you don't have to come to a meeting with a clipboard and hope that people fill in, XYZ on a piece of paper. This is all done virtually. So people can do this anytime and you can keep track of things here inside the volunteers module. Once again, skipping a lot of stuff. I know there's all these other functions here. I just want to talk about the donations module, which is after volunteers. After volunteers is donations. I'm going to click donations and donation settings. If the sentence starts with if your club has an online credit card payment provider installed, your club will be able to use the ClubRunner donation module. A lot of clubs, they use PayPal or Square or whatever, and you can do that. That's no problem. You can basically link to an external anything. Our club uses PayPal for donations or Square, what have you. ClubRunner donations module works inside the system. So if someone donates, let's say $20 on your ClubRunner website, it gets stored here. That's what the donations module is. It's a way for you to collect online donations without the person leaving your ClubRunner site. I'm going to click here. I'm going to click this middle tab. Oh, we didn't set it up. All right, my fault. And you can set up a donate button. And that's what you can do here is you can actually use ClubRunner to collect online donations. But remember the big if your club has an online credit card payment provider set up in ClubRunner. In the USA, that online credit card provider is called Taya. I'll write it down for you. All right, just so you know, and also so it's recorded. So the online payment provider in CR is called PAYA. Okay, if your club doesn't have Paya, you can't use the credit card functionality that ClubRunner offers because ClubRunner doesn't have the security to store credit cards. Okay, and Paya is a paid add-on, meaning you'll have to pay extra in order to sign up for Paya. Okay, I want to talk very briefly about membership success, which the next tab. Sorry about that. So if I click membership success overview, the membership success module is specifically designed for prospective members. It's a prospective member recruitment tool. You may have 5 different prospects in various stages. This person, Susan, super interested, super keen. She's on the verge of becoming a member. And on the other end, the 5th person, I don't know, Harold. Harold is vaguely interested, but he hasn't come to any meetings or anything. So you need a way to keep track of all that. You need a way to keep track of your member prospects. That is what the membership success module does, is it says, you know what? We're going to try and do everything possible to help the club keep track of all this. Susan, super keen, very interested, may become a Rotarian next week or next month. Harold, not so interested. We're going to keep emailing him. Hopefully he'll show up to a meeting and everything in between, right? Because, you might have 3 or 5 or even 10 prospects at any given time. So the membership success module, it does a couple things. Here's one thing it does, okay? I'm going to click here on membership inquiry. Like I said, it's not a tutorial today. I'm just going to kind of click some buttons here. So I'm going to click on membership inquiry. Potential member and your club website, if you have ClubRunner, you have this too. That prospect can give you their information. Hey, do you mind filling out the simple form? Tell me a little bit about yourself. What's, I don't know, your occupation, just some basic stuff. When they click submit, it doesn't just save the data inside ClubRunner. It triggers an automated email to the person of your choice. Typically, that's the membership chair or club secretary. It doesn't have to be, it can be anybody in your club. And then the club membership chair, for example, will, hey, I just got an email and Daryl is now a prospective member. That's fantastic. The way that the membership success module works is it doesn't just store the info, it also keeps the prospect warm. What I mean is you can set up email automation. If Daryl gives you or someone else gives you his or her member prospect information, you can trigger an email to go to them, the next day or the next week or the next month. And in that way, kind of keep that person interested. We haven't forgot about you, Daryl. Could you give us more information, et cetera, et cetera. While Daryl's or the prospect person, they're doing that back and forth, your membership committee, if you have one, they can evaluate Daryl's application and say, oh, Daryl's fantastic, but we really need his, I don't know, CV or whatever you require. So it's just a way to keep track of the membership success module is just a way for you to keep track of prospective members. It's there right now. You may have never heard of it. Thank you for coming to today's webinar because that's why you're here today, to see if we can find new things for you to discover in ClubRunner. And like I said, tons of stuff I didn't talk about in the membership success module. For example, your club members can refer a member, meaning it's not just external, it's not just Daryl, but maybe a member of your club is like, oh, Sally, she'd be awesome. Let me give you her information. I'll put it into this membership success module. And now, same thing, you can evaluate Sally's application too. The last thing I want to talk about is help, and we have to get to Q&A. If you click on help, these are all the different types of help items we have, right? Support center and submit a ticket. It kind of overlaps between, if you click on admin, right? We ended up where we began. We have all these other help resources here in admin. We also have very similar help resources in the help button, right? Support center is clubrunnersupport.com, right? And submit a ticket is how you can send an email to us, right? So, and all this is found in the admin screen. Once again, engineered superfluousness, right? It's there twice for a reason. I'm going to stop because we need to get to some questions. I want to say thank you right up front. Thank you for staying this long. But let me stop sharing my screen and let's take some questions. Does anybody have, if you would, there's a little, oh, okay, perfect. I look at, there's a chat here. There's a way to raise your hand in, actually, you know what? You can just raise your hand physically too. That'll work too. Do you have any questions? Yeah, Alice. Sorry, Alice, you're muted. See if we can unmute you.
There, am I unmuted?
Perfect, thank you.
I'm a new newsletter person, and I've done 4 or 5, and I did a test run of the newsletter the other day, and it was perfect. Sent it out, and one of the articles appeared twice, one right under the other.
Okay. So
And why?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Why didn't it show up in the test?
So for that, only because it's two things. It's a specific example, and also I don't want to show anything, reveal your club info. Would you mind emailing us or calling us? And let me put this back up on the if you could please email us.
Okay.
Here, I'll just put it here in the chat. If you can see the chat, I'll put all our contact info before I'm done as well. We'll take a more closer look and figure out what's going on. The short answer, I don't know why that happened, but go ahead.
Do you want me to send both the test one to you and the actual?
Sure. The more info you can provide us, the more we'll look it over and see what happened.
Okay, I've got one more question on the same topic.
Absolutely, of course.
Okay, I always send a test to myself and then forward that on to our district secretary and the editor. And one member has an Apple and I use an Apple product. I send it to the district secretary who does not, and hers is gobbledygook. And yet I can send it to another member outside who doesn't have a Mac and it's fine. Yeah. So I don't know where our problem is between the district secretary and myself, that I can't forward her the test and have it be in the right format.
So on her device only.
On her device only.
So once again, if you could, and maybe it has to be a separate email or something, but yeah, and we get into these hyper-specific situations. I see it, you don't, then the third person does, and then the fourth person doesn't. So it happens sometimes, and sometimes it can be, I'll give you very hypothetical guesses, browser plugins, device conflicts, maybe it needs a software update. These are all guesses, by the way, complete and total guesses. But yeah, we'd love to look that over because yeah, sometimes that happens. But absolutely. Any other questions, Alice?
Nope, thank you.
Absolutely. Oh, great. Sunny, please unmute yourself.
Vicki, thank you. This is really helpful. I was wondering if you could speak briefly to which of the features you've described are paid add-ons and which ones are included in the base price and how pricing works for ClubRunner? Sure,
that's a great question. Let me start sharing my screen. Everything that I've at least talked about so far is not, I skimmed the surface of it. How about the first thing is credit card? So credit card, this is a paid add-on.
Right.
Everything else so far is not. So let me show you. I'm gonna open up a new page and we'll just go to ClubRunner pricing because that is important. Okay, I'm just gonna Google it. And this is our pricing page, which lists, the price for ClubRunner. It's based off membership count. So as your membership grows, if you have, I don't know, if you're lucky and you have a 300-person club, right? We actually have, we're looking at a 1,000-person club right now. We're trying to figure out what to do with that. But yeah, but the standard is like usually 20, 50, 100 members. And then there's standard features and paid add-ons. So here are some of our add-ons. There's something called enhanced committees. What that means is your club has a standard committees module. There's no extra cost for that. If you want to store files and documents inside committees and you want to email inside the committees module, so you want to keep track of that, I got my emails and I got my committee emails, which are two different things, two different sections. There's an add-on for that. You don't need to pay it because you have the standard, everybody gets the standard committees module. There's something called a barcode module. This really only interests very large clubs like my 100-member, 200-member clubs. If you already have attendance, your club comes with attendance, your club website already has it, nothing extra to pay. For clubs that have, let's say, 100, 200 people, sometimes even 50, 75, they get a little barcode reader. And if the club has 150 members, no one wants to sit there and, and Bob's here and Mary's here and so on. You can actually scan people's barcodes as they walk in. And that's how a lot of our larger clubs take attendance. Once again, 100% optional, don't need it if you're satisfied with the standard attendance module. I talked about attendance. There's an enhanced volunteers module. I won't go into great detail. It's more or less the same functionality, but you'll get a lot more capacity. If you need something where the volunteer list might be hundreds of people, you'll need enhanced volunteers. Or if you want a volunteers list for the general public, the volunteers module that comes with your club website, it's for members only. If you need like regular people volunteering for your events, you'll need the enhanced volunteers module. And then this is the credit card payment module. Is
Great.
that kind of that's a very
That's
quick
very
summary.
helpful. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Any other questions at all? And I'll wait. I know you're writing something down.
I do have
Oh,
one
go ahead.
comment, and that is that when you talk about blocked emails, unblocking them will not necessarily mean they get the email. They have to work on their end to unblock your email first, and then you can unblock it on your end and send it again. It blocked it for a reason in the beginning, because they reported it as spam probably, and it will continue to block it unless they go into their system and unblock it.
That's correct. Basically, to kind of expand on that, like you click unblock, it's not like a magic button that, okay, now they'll get every email you send for the rest of the time. It's more of like the unblock button is another way of saying, let's clear the path. Let's attempt to send them an email again. There is a possibility they'll get blocked or bounced again. This happens a lot for Rotarians who work in law firms, finance, banks, places where there's higher network security. It tends to happen a lot more because they have heightened security as opposed to like a Gmail user, standard person. So that unblock is not a magic button. It doesn't mean that now they'll get every email I send them. You might still need to talk to that user and ask them there's something called a white list. You can whitelist ClubRunner and say anything coming from clubrunner.ca is safe. It's not spam. Allow it into my inbox. It's a little bit more advanced, but it's totally something. We actually ask some of our people who are lawyers or whatever, they might have to do that because there's no other way that the ClubRunner emails will get to them. But that's a great point. Thank you, Danette.
The other thing I did want to say is you were talking about how in web design you can just X out of those widgets and you haven't deleted the data. But when you are in stories or documents or anything like that in the website, if you delete it, it is permanently gone. So please don't go in there and mess with people's data.
Yeah, that's also an excellent point. Now, the nice point about that is that stories and documents, I'll give you documents as an example. Anybody in your club, it doesn't matter what their access level is, can view. Only club executive level, we call it level 50, but only club executives and higher can edit and delete and change documents. So like not everybody will have the ability to delete documents. So if you do, please be careful. If you have the ability to delete stuff, please be wary of deleting. Please, Harold, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation today, Mickey. It was very informative for me. I had a question about the presentation that you were going over. Your main menu, the blue menu, is quite a bit different than the menu that I see. Now, is that because of my access level?
Two things. Yes, it might be. And then the second thing, are you logged into the district website or the club site? Because the district site is a little bit
district
different.
website, because we don't. not aware that we have a club level.
No problem. Yeah, the district website is not exactly the same as what you're probably seeing, because you probably don't see the same commands as me, is the district site first of all, it's a little bit different. It's similar, like it's a blue menu with white buttons, but the commands are labeled differently. And then the second thing, I don't know if you're not a district website administrator, you're not going to have access to half the things in the menu as well. So that might be what's going on. But it's a great question. And we do have some, it actually brings up a good point, because this is actually, we field all kinds of answers all day long. I'm sorry, questions all day long. Some of the questions are, I'm a website administrator. I can't even send email. What's going on? That person accidentally logged into the district and not their club site. So, that happens sometimes. And the club username and password is exactly the same as the district username or password. But thank you, Harold. That's a great. Any other questions, Harold?
Probably not for you, Mickey. Probably more for Donna. So
No problem.
just to try to understand more about what you were talking about, the club level. What's the club level for Sunrise? That's. But Donna, we can take that offline. We don't need it.
Okay.
But
I do see Sandy. Sandy,
Hey,
please.
Mickey, how you doing? Thanks so
good.
much. Really appreciate all that information. So if I want to upload photos to the image library, apparently there's 5,000 limit per single folder. Is that what I was just reading? I was going right to the help because it's so cool. Because on the other thing, okay, so it says 500,000 images, any single folder. So let's say one folder is events. So 5,000 could be in that events folder, but only five, or is that, that's for, so is it an unlimited number of images totally if you just put them in different folders?
Yeah. So what we have, so I'll tell you what I know. I'm checking that. I'm going to try and find that same help document you're reading. So I know that we have a specific limitation for any file or any image. Any file or any image that you upload into ClubRunner, it has to be 15 megabytes, 15 MB or less. So if you have a very large photo, like some of our photographer Rotarians, their images are like 45 megabytes for one photo. Those can get uploaded into ClubRunner. We can't, but you can store thousands of those 15 megabyte or smaller images. Now, if you're looking at, does it say that we have a folder limit? Like you can only have
Well, it just says, any single folder can display up to 5,000 images. To upload and display more images, please create subfolders. And my question is, are those subfolders under those single folders? They would have to be, I would imagine.
Yes. Oh, we put this in. Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot about this. We had a district, they uploaded, I think it was like 25,000 images into one folder, and it kind of screeched it slowed down our system. And let me show you. Hold on, let's illustrate this, because it's no good to just talk about it. Let's go here. So I'm going to go to website, and I'm going to go to image library right here. Okay, the image library, it stores everything, all the images on your homepage and all your secondary pages, they all live here in the image library, right? So it's a shared library. I'm going to scroll down. So I have and let me make this a bit bigger, okay, and make it look like this. So this little yellow thing, that's a folder. If I click the plus sign, these are the subfolders. You're going to have subfolders. So for example, my images, I have folders. I'm going to click the plus sign. I have a subfolder called temp. Actually, let's create a new one. I'm going to right click over my images. I'm going to create a new subfolder. I'm going to call it Mickey's subfolder, right? And there's my subfolder. And then I'm going to right click over that. And it's going to be my subfolder. You don't have to name it that. That's a terrible name, but you get the idea, right? You're storing things inside, like a Russian doll. So any one, my images, Mickey subfolder or the subfolder can have a total of 5,000 images. So that's probably not going to be for the average or even, above average user.
That'll work, yeah.
Yeah, but what you can do is I got 20,000 images. You'll need to create 5 folders. 20 divided by, 20 divided, sorry, 4. You need to create 4 folders if you have 20,000 images, because you can't put them all in one folder. We actually had that and it almost crashed our system. So we had to put in that restriction. But
Is
that's a
there-
great question.
Is there a way to know the number? Is there
Yes.
a way to figure out how many
It
you have in there?
should be, unless we got rid of it, it should be at the bottom. Let's see if we're good. So if you
Oh,
go to
okay.
the bottom, it'll say how many images are there. So like
Oh, wonderful.
45 or
Good.
3,000. I will say this, the folders, not only are they super handy, let's say you have, forget about 5,000, how about 500? Let's say you have 500 images in a folder. Our system has to load them all. So it will take a bit, let's say you have only 500 images, and that's actually not that much. If you are good and conscientious with your folder structure, like you have, all these different, like I have a folder just for this specific event, I have a folder for, such and such fundraiser. You're not trying to load everything at once, and it'll load quicker, because the district that who will go unnamed, they basically took I think it was like 7 years of info, and they never created a folder, so they just put everything in one giant folder, and everything was there. I think it was like 20,000, whatever. And so if you're good with the folder structure, use it, because it not only is it more organized for you, it'll load the images quicker, because now instead of having to load 500 images, you only have to load 100, and then your next folder will have 400 images or whatever.
Great.
But,
Thanks,
that's a great
Mickey.
question.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any more questions at all? Anyone else? Oh, yeah, Alice, please.
Thank you. Can you delete some of can we delete some of the pictures we know are just one use?
Well, that's a great question. I'm going to go back to my image, and I'll tell you why that's such a great question. It depends. Now, so here, let me make this a bit smaller. So, okay, here's obviously redundant pictures of a waterfall. Like, why do I have all these? I'm going to, how many of that? I think I have like 10 of these. I'm going to delete 9 of them. Be careful of deleting a picture. So you've got pictures, and they may not be duplicates, by the way. They might be like, oh, I know, for example, this picture of these flowers, this is super old. I don't need this anymore. I can right click over the picture and I can click delete. Here's why you should, and you can do that, and that's fine. Here's why you should hesitate when you do this. This picture may be linked to a certain web page that you may not know about. So if you do this and delete it, when the next person goes to that specific web page that you don't know that it's, they'll see basically a broken little empty box, because the image is deleted, it's gone. So when we're linking to that, the link will come to the image library and say, hey, give me, this picture of the flowers. And the image library says, oh no, that's deleted. You can't have that. So it'll just display a broken box. So be very wary of deleting images, because we kind of confirm, like, are you sure you want to do that? Because, you might cause broken links on a subsequent web page if you don't know where these images are being stored, right? So
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's a great question. Go ahead.
Alice, for you, you do your pictures you're talking about are in a totally different place. Your pictures are on the download pictures, and they are linked to all of our archived bulletins. And so, no, you can't erase them.
Okay, but once in a while I do a duplicate because, sometimes my brain isn't functioning. At least I can get rid of the duplicates.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Donna. That's great to know.
Fantastic. These are great questions. Any other questions at all? No? Okay. I want to mention just 1 or 2 things. So here, let me open this up again, and I'll make this a bit smaller. So if you, here, let's open, and actually let me type this out so you can see it bigger, right? So today we have the webinar that's being recorded, the video will be shared. And this is, like I said, we're kind of skimming a stone across a pond, right? Like here's the ClubRunner pond. We're trying to get as much info as we can, but we're not going into detail. We will be going into detail mid-April. So if you go to any web browser, you type in clubrunner.com/training. Let me just do the whole thing again. So clubrunner.com/training, and then copy this. We have something called Changeover Training. It's a yearly event, 100% free. It's all different. I think we have 25 total webinars. Let me open a new browser tab. I'm gonna paste in that clubrunner.com/training. And you can come, if you can come live. We're going to have, now we don't just have during our office hours. This is a special training. We've got evening sessions, weekend sessions. We've got stuff in the morning. We've got stuff at night for our Hawaii customers, California, all that stuff. So it's all these different time slots. The registration is free. There'll be Zoom webinars. It'll be very similar to these formats where we'll have Q&A at the end. Now let's say you're like, hey, this is cool. I'd really like to learn, my club doesn't have a club level version of ClubRunner. I want to learn about the district version of ClubRunner. So I'm going to register for this, but I can't because it's 3 p.m. on a Friday, April 14th. Bookmark clubrunner.com training anyways. Why? Because this page that has all of our Changeover 2023 training, after in beginning of May, all of these blue buttons, register, will turn into view recording. So everything's going to be recorded. I'm going to scroll down this page because you can see there's quite a lot of webinars. Come back and revisit this page in May. Everything that you can register for right now, you're going to be able to watch the recorded version of afterwards. So there's going to be, and I'm like halfway through. I'm going to do this slowly because I want you to know there's a ton of information here. We're going to go into stuff that some of the new modules, for example, membership success is a newer module. It's not that old. It's been around for a couple of months now. So we're going to explore all kinds of different things. We're really excited about it. It's our largest training of the year, absolutely zero cost. If you can't register, come live, come back and watch the recording because that we want to make sure everybody has this information. All right, fantastic. Let me stop that. Any other questions at all about anything? No? All right, fantastic. I'll let Donette mention anything like anything else we should discuss on it.
I don't think so. I did want to tell you all that we also will have trainings in the spring. We call them assemblies, and there will be some trainings for individual positions in your clubs. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. And I think that's it. Sunny, do you have anything else? Sunny's our trainer for the district.
No, that's it for now. Look for announcements about district assemblies for secretaries, treasurers, and board members. We'll schedule them after the district conference. Thank you.
And we'll
Donette.
see all of you at district
Thank you,
conference in
Mary.
Roswell in your men in black uniforms. See you.
Nikki,
Thanks,
thanks so much.
You.
Thank you to
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone.